As we enter chapter 12, we are going to see where Arjun's questions are coming from. So Hari Om everyone, and as we enter chapter 12, we are happy to see that we have made this journey thus far, with Arjun of course. Where are his questions coming from? We saw that in the 11th chapter, there was a definite turning point in the mindset of Arjun. Why? Because when he started, his mind was full of grief and sorrow and confusion. And in chapter 11, finally, after actually having expounded all the possible paths of realization, the Gyan Yoga, chapter 2, the Karma Yoga, chapter 3, Dhyan Yoga, chapter 6, and Bhagwan's limitless compassion, he still found Arjun worthy of showing him his Vishwaroop. Now, where do we stand in this journey? Arjun made the journey because of his confusion. Many of us are capable, definitely, of chasing some dream or the other. But most of the effort that we put is out there in the outer world. We have seen that many times. And that's why we have achieved all the, things of comfort and luxury that we have always wanted to achieve. So a high education and this achievement or that achievement and a bank balance and property and cars, etc. Having achieved all these things in the outer world, where did that capacity come from? It means we have the capacity to have a goal and to chase the goal and to have the ekagrata. Chasing any goal needs ekagrata, which means single-pointed dedication. If we had been scattered and if we had merely been casual about our pursuits, we wouldn't have got the results even in the sansari sense. So we were not casual, that's very clear. If we have ekagrata, we have the capacity to chase a goal, then what is it actually that drives us to want something else? Because, in this upasana, in this Gyan Yoga, the first problem that all of us have is, if I don't know that there is this higher truth, if I cannot see and experience, if I know nothing about that ultimate truth, then how can I even make it my goal? Naturally. If I don't know that Netherlands has got the most beautiful canals where you can move around in a gondola. Oh, I think the gondola word comes from Venice. Anyway, so the beauty of it, the charm of it, the attraction of it, I will never even desire because I know nothing about it. That's where many of us are stuck. Where, knowing nothing about the highest truth, we have no goal, no desire, no intention, no inclination, and therefore no journey. Therefore, it is not by accident that Krishna began the exposition, his solution to Arjun's problem with Gyan Yoga in chapter 2. He stated very, very clearly what is this Gyan that we are looking for. Because in the outer world, not having the right direction or goal, which no one has ever bothered to point out to us, because our education and our goals and our worldly pursuits, which have been directed by our parents and families and society and education, have always been outward. Meaning to say, you have to achieve this and that, and these are the parameters of your so-called success, inverted commas, so-called. Now, being caught in what the world says is right and what the scripture says is really right, the truth, we, the lucky ones, are the ones who can chance upon the truth. Through the scriptures, through teaching, through something or the other, we chance upon it. Because unfortunately, after the British arrived in India, that direct pointing to the truth was taken away from our education system. It was a direct pointing. So there is a goal there. If you wish, you can pursue it. So the seed was sown anyway. At some point or the other, you may like to reach it. And therefore, there is a lesser chance of missing that highest goal. But now that our education system has become bereft of spiritual knowledge, the chances of missing out our main goal are greater, and they have been for the past few generations after the westernization of our education. But our ex-president Abdul Kalam ji, if you read his book, he states very clearly, he says that education which includes spirituality and the world of subjects, whatever your worldly subject is, physics or chemistry or literature, plus spirituality is going to bring about the best kind of education. Abdul Kalam insisted, and he of course was very lucky, highly educated in both. He had studied the Gita and the Quran and of course his subject of nuclear physics. So he was one of the greatest nuclear physicists of our country. But why did he lay so much emphasis on spirituality? Now we'll say, oh, okay, gurus and babas are always talking about spiritual life. But here is a nuclear physicist, Abdul Kalam ji, who went about till the last breath. Of course, he was still on a podium when he passed away, talking to people in the field of education, saying this is what needs to be done. And therefore, we have lost our way because of that. What about the common man? We are saying it is not by chance that Arjun came upon this knowledge. Even he was ready for it. When are we ready for it actually? So in the 7th chapter, Krishna has explained very clearly that, look, people who come to me are either artho, that means they are in pain over anything, mental pain, physical pain, or artharthi, in desiring something greater for themselves, a bigger kingdom, a bigger car, a better job for the family, for the children, a promotion, I don't know, prosperity, whatever, wealth. So, artharthi, there is an artha, there is a desire. Artharthi. Jigyasu. Jigyasu is the one who is curious and suddenly says, look, I have achieved what I have needed to achieve. I have got out of my bed. That means I am not tamasic anymore. Means I am not lazy or indolent. And I have done all the work in the world with great energy and action. That is rajasic. And there always comes a point when, having done enough of rajasic activity, which means action with the body, to achieve this or that in the world, there comes a time when the mind says, now let me see what is it that this whole purpose of existence. Existential questions hit us. Sattvic mind begins there. And a sattvic mind is a seeking mind. A tamasic mind or a rajasic mind can never be a seeker's mind, cannot seek, because it is already seeking either comfort and laziness in tamasic, or the pleasures and acquisitions of the world in rajasic. Only a sattvic mind is ready for learning. And therefore, we find out of this artho, artharthi, jigyasu, and jnani. Jnani is the last one who comes to me, Bhagwan says, because he already has jnana, but he comes to me out of sheer love for me. Out of these, where does Arjun fit? He definitely is in the artho. Artho is the one who is in great emotional pain or physical pain or of some kind of pain, because there are 3 kinds of sorrows that can hit us, you know. So there is Adi Daivik, which comes as a kind of from the blue, natural disasters, or Adi Bhautik, coming from our immediate environment of people and places and relationships, are Adi Bhautik, and Adi Daivik, our own mind. It seems to be boiling with this or that kind of thought and imagined hurts and man and apman. So there are only 3 kinds of sorrows in the world. Every kind of sorrow is encapsulated in these 3, Adi Daivik. So that's why we say Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti after every Shanti mantra, because all 3, we need Shanti from all 3. Now, out of these, which is the sorrow which Arjun is suffering from, and many of us too? Adi Bhautik. That means some kind of sorrow caused by an action which I need to do outside in the world, and it is caused by the situation which is not right for me, relationship which is not right for me, something that, vastu, vyakti, paristiti, ghatna, some incident which is causing me pain, or my own body is causing me pain. he is in that position. Many of us may be in that position, and many of us may have come to this path because of jigyasa, a curiosity that yes, there is some hidden knowledge somewhere. I've heard about it, and so it's good luck that we suddenly chance upon this knowledge. But even having known that there is some higher truth, we still don't have the kind of drive and determination and single pointedness that we have shown in acquiring all our outer objects, like a higher degree or some kind of higher education or a new car or a new house. You know how hard we have to work, or the wedding in a family, how hard we work for these things. So we have not directed that effort towards Bhagwan. Why? Because that goal doesn't seem to be urgent enough, doesn't seem to be compelling enough and strong enough to pull us towards it. Because at the moment we are comfortable, right? Therefore, again a doubt arises that yes, there is a truth, but how do I reach it? Now, what is the path? And I still want to be in my comfort zone, you see. I want to hold on to my my Naam, Roop and Audha and my position, and at the same time I want to look for some entity outside of me, Bhagwan as some entity outside of me. If that is the natural bent of mind of an inquirer or a seeker, Bhagwan in his ultimate compassion says, okay, I don't even mind that. Even if you are looking for some entity separate from you, I will now set the ground for bhakti. So if you've seen, so now the proper bhakti yoga starts, where bhakti is a way of, it may not be the ultimate route, but it is one route suggested by Bhagwan, bhakti. Okay, you can still find me even if you're looking for a Naam and Roop and Sagun, some God which has attributes. Okay, so the ground has been set now in chapter 12 for proper bhakti. One more route suggested. I may remind you that all the Vedas and Upanishads actually state the bare truth in different ways with different examples, but they just state the truth. What is consciousness and what is my nature, what is Bhagwan's nature, and what is the nature of this sansar? 3 questions are answered and you make sense of it and make sense of your own life. Now how you can incorporate it in your own life and how you make sense of it is your business. Gita is one of the most popular texts where it is a manual for how to. It always gives a how to. So here we are once again looking at Bhakti Yoga. I may remind the readers of Gita that Karma Yoga has been amply described and also Dhyan Yoga. But Bhagwan is going to make a comparative study leading Arjun towards Bhakti Yoga. So, what is the doubt that arises in the mind of Arjun? We see in chapter 12, I will just skim over the first few verses. The doubt is still there, that at least he knows he is not ready for it. He is a humble learner. He says in the first verse, chapter 12, Arjuna uvacha evam satata yuktaye. I want to be steadfast. Bhaktas tvam paryupasate. So, the devotees who worship you, ye chapyaksharam avyaktam, they are the ones who worship the imperishable and the unmanifest. Tesham ke yoga vettamaha. But which is better? The one who worships you in your saguna form, that means the visible form, bhakta, bhaktasvam, paryupasate, or the one who worships you in your nirgun, unmanifest. The second word says akshara, imperishable, avyaktam. By now you know the word avyakt, unmanifest. Unmanifest as what? As nothing. So when you say fire is unmanifest in the stone, it means what? I can't see it. Okay, fire is there in the stone. Yes, it's there. Where is it? It's unmanifest. How do you know? Rub 2 stones together. Where does fire come from? It manifests itself. In the same way, we can complain towards kingdom come that I can't see consciousness, I can't experience consciousness, yes, it's not manifest in any form that you can recognize with your senses, but it is unmanifest. Now Arjun's question is the same as ours. Hey Bhagwan, tell me which is better. What he wants to say actually is which is easier. If you ask me, he wants to know which is the easier path. आपको सगुण ब्रह्म में देखें हम, सगुण यानी आपका नाम है, रूप है, attributes हैं. I can see you, I can have a form in which I can place my mind, or avyakta. So you put a stone there and you say, I'm a fire worshipper. Only a high jnani will be able to do that, because a fire worshipper will say, I want to see fire. Only then I can worship the fire. So the unmanifest or avyakta form of Bhagwan, Arjun says, please tell me, is this a better form? Normal doubt of a normal common man, and we are all caught in it. Only a high jnani is able to put his mind on unmanifest. So Bhagwan, as he goes on, he has already, I'm going to sort of give a gist of it before we see the detail. Of all the paths that he has suggested, Bhagwan has suggested, right, Karma Yoga, and he's going to elaborate some more in this chapter, and Dhyan Yoga, that is placing your mind on the unmanifest, and of course Gyan Yoga, which means straight away telling Arjun that, look, you are that avyakta and imperishable akshara tattva, Gyan, but my mind doesn't sit on it because it sounds so abstract. But in all these paths of Gyan or Dhyan or Karma, one thing is common. One thing meaning a few things. What are those few things? That none of these paths can be achieved. Think about it. None of these paths can be achieved unless I have created an oasis of silence. I like that word used on our group. An oasis of silence and peace within my own mind. Which means what? In the words of Krishna, Samabuddhi. If I don't have Samabuddhi, I can't even practice Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, again we will be explaining some more in this chapter. And secondly, all that I have to do is, when my mind is silenced, what do I have to do? I don't flap around taking this tirtha and this yagya and that yagya, because Bhagwan has already said in the 53rd verse of 11th chapter, Naham Vedair na tapasa, na Ved padne se, na scriptures padne se, na tap karne se, na dane na chejya, na dan charity, और न यज्ञ करने से शक्य एवं विदो द्रष्टुम. आप नहीं देख सकते इस तत्व को, न शक्य, not possible. Bhagwan has stated very clearly. So all that I do is, instead of flapping around, I pray, I surrender. I pray and I surrender and I wait. We have lost the capacity to wait. And therefore, to achieve the goal through any of the paths are not being disputed. It's a quality of mind. It's the steadiness of the seeker which is now in question. And then what happens when we pray and surrender and just wait out of sheer compassion? And I'm using a bhakti word very deliberately, because we are entering a bhakti prasang. And therefore, out of sheer compassion, Bhagwan is still waiting there. Of course, he's also waiting, and he just picks us up. But for all the paths, we need the same tools, the same instrument of man and buddhi, which is samabuddhi, equanimous, in silence, in peace, and surrendering all our desires, which means control of the indriyas. Without this instrument, we cannot even blame God. Say, hey Krishna, आपने इतना समझाया, मुझे तो कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहा. So that means we need to sharpen our instruments. It's the swimming instructor who says, okay, I've told you everything that you need to know, the theory and the practice of swimming. उसकी theory कैसे floating होती है, everything I have told you. Now get into the water. Only you have to do it. The swimming instructor can't get into the water and swim for you. So now the ball is in our court, the instrument that we have to use, provided, and I really emphasize this, provided the uddeshya or the goal to attain that highest truth is strong enough, and we are thirsty enough for it, we are hungering enough for it, and we are determined enough for it. Unless we do that, it will be like a casual pursuit. It's like saying, I was thinking of going to Goa last year, but the program fizzled out. Fizzle out kyun hua? I didn't give it enough thought, and something else came up, priority kuch aur thi. Yes, fair enough. That's good. Fair enough for you to say, my priority was something else. This happens to our pursuit of the ultimate also, because everything around us seems to have an urgency of a priority. That means if there's a wedding in the family, it has to be done. If there's travel to be undertaken, it has to be done. And it is not even being suggested by the scriptures that we don't engage in the world and complete all our duties of travel and children and education and income and comfortable wealth. No, that's not the idea. The idea is, in doing all of these, where is the mind placed? That's what Bhagavan is going to discuss. Where is the mind placed? It's the whole issue is not of what we are doing, but how, with what bhava we are doing. Where is the placement of the mind and buddhi? That is where bhakti comes in. Because in bhakti it says very clearly that mat karma, you can devote everything to me. Madarpan, even if you are doing something with an exterior goal, that means my goal is to attain, to have a new job, to have a better income, that may be my first goal. But after that, job is done, I can still surrender the phala, the fruit, to God. Mad arpan, even after the job is done. And mat karma means from the very start, I say nimitta matra, I am your instrument, God, you are employing me, I am doing it. So all these are methods. We are coming to that, mat karma and mad arpan, how Bhagavan is saying that you may do everything you need to do, just devote it, offer it, arpan kar do mujhko, and you will find that bhakti becomes an easy topic. And therefore, Bhagavan gives us many beautiful ways of making it easier and simpler for Arjun and for us to come out of our confusion. And his confusion definitely is a very primary one. मैं निर्गुण में मन लगाऊं कि सगुण में लगाऊं, ठीक है. So we will see which one is easier. But for now, suffice it to say that the quality of mind, the state of mind required is the same, and that is definitely our own job. In the second verse of chapter 12, Bhagavan answers. He says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Veshamano Ye Mam. If you're trying to fix your mind on me, Nitya Yukta Upasate. You have to be steady and you have to worship. Upasate. Upasate literally does not mean worshipping. Upasate actually means asan is to sit and u is nearby. Sit nearby. Sit nearby what? So you can sit near, if you're a bhakta, sit near the God, near the altar. If you're working in your profession, place your mind near the altar, if not physically there. If you're a jnani, sit near the scriptures or a guru or a teacher. So, upasate is somewhere find a closeness to the learning. And therefore you are worshipping me if you are close to me. Shraddhaya para yopetaha. Then, only then it is possible for you to have Shraddhaya. Oh yes, I forgot. Shraddha. Without that, none of it can be practiced. Not Karma Yoga, not Jnana Yoga, not Dhyan Yoga, not Bhakti. Just not possible. So in a state of mind which is Samabuddhi, acquired some kind of peace, and it is surrendered a little bit, it also needs Shraddha. So having control over the Indriya, and Samabuddhi and Shraddha. Let's not forget. These are our three instruments, and these instruments need to be sharpened enough to be able to undertake this journey, this pilgrimage. So Shraddha, yes, this word, Bhagwan has reminded us again in the second line, Shraddhaya Paryupasate. This is what you need. Te me yuktama mataha. In my opinion, you can reach me if you follow this. Maya vesha mano ye mam. Know me if you fix your mind on me. Avyakta. First, see yourself. There is only Avyakta, which is not only Bhagwan, but we also in our real form, we are Avyakta. How do you know? Because before I was born, I had some existence. Otherwise, I wouldn't carry the impressions of my personality, my swabhava, and some memories. In some cases, memories follow. I wouldn't have it. I was Avyakta, and I will go into Avyakta again. So that means not only Bhagwan, but we in our essential Tattva nature are also Avyakta. So know yourself as Avyakta and not as just a temporary name and form, which is there, of course. Hold on to it very lightly. It's your lightest baggage that we carry in this world is our name and form, and our audha and our ayu and our man and samman and pratishtha and position or whatever we have gained in this world, and of course bank balance and passbook. These are our lightest baggages, and we carry them as our most precious and heavy and valuable baggage. Ulta karna hai iska. Then he says, drop that identity, please. That baggage, please drop it or hold it lightly, and then only you can contemplate on me. Which word does he use? Maya vesha mano ye mam. Keep your mind on me. Upasate. And of course, Shraddha. Now, a Jnani finds it easy. I'm just making a small comparison. A Jnani finds it easy to dislodge from too much attachment to the outer world by simply understanding that whatever he is pursuing in the outer world is made of Prakriti. Prakriti meaning everything which is Nashwar or impermanent material, basically. And therefore, to that extent, whatever relationship I have with all the impermanent things is also impermanent. So he uses plain and clear logic. Who? The Jnani. And therefore he clears his mind up. Now for a Bhakta, suppose the Jnana is a bit too abstract. For him, Bhagwan says, just keep your mind on me and have Shraddha, have faith that I am going to take you across this ocean. Sansara Sagar as it's called, this ocean of, and what is Sansar? Nothing but a place where we experience a lot of Sukha and Dukha and Man and Apman and Shita and Ushna and Jay and Parajay and Labh and Alabh, which means profit and loss, like waves on the ocean, rising and falling and rising and falling, and that's it on the surface. I'll get you across this ocean. Bhagwan's promise. Have faith, Shraddha. Even a Jnani needs Shraddha in scriptures, but a Bhakta needs even more Shraddha. So now Bhagwan is saying a little more about the Nirgun. First of all, he needs to answer Arjun's question about Nirgun Upasana. Now, Nirgun Upasana means, first of all, I must know what is the Nirgun Tattva, that Bhagwan, what is consciousness, what is his nature. So, to know his nature, in verse number 3, Bhagwan says, Ye tvaksharama nirdeshyam. That means I am imperishable. Akshara, the first word, and the next word is indefinable. Anirdeshyam. You can't even define me in your mortal language. Okay? And avyaktam paryupasate. Naturally, I am unmanifest. Now, in Nirgud Swarup, Bhagwan is just explaining his own Swarup first. Man us par nahi lag sakta? Okay. There will be more solutions coming. But first, we have to know what it is that we are worshipping. We cannot go direct into some kind of bhakti or fall at the feet of some idol in some temple and start weeping and get into emotionalism. Yes, bhakti has that danger of becoming just an emotionalism of a relationship that we don't understand. So Bhagwan says, okay, hold on, first know the relationship between yourself and me. I am imperishable, aksharam, anirdeshyam, indefinable, and of course avyaktam, unmanifest, paryupasate. You can worship me. Second line, sarvatragamachintyam cha, omnipresent, sarvatra, and unthinkable, achintyam. It means incomprehensible. You cannot comprehend me with your little mind. Achintyam. I think there is a better word for it. Yeah, okay. For the moment, you can't comprehend me. Achintyam. Translation always takes away a lot from Sanskrit to English. Cha, Kutastha Machalam Dhruvam. Kutastha, I am the Adhar, the changeless. Something that is changeless in this world. Something. And I am that, Kutastha. And I'm Achalam, immovable, naturally. You cannot, if I'm everywhere, Sarvagat, as it is said, Sarvagat in the first word, then I cannot be Chalam, I have to be Achalam. If I am whatever is everywhere, cannot be moved from one place to another move. Kutastha, last time I spoke about the scientists who are grappling with this whole idea of if sound and light needs a medium to move on which medium does the sound and light of the stars, the sound of certain explosions and the light of certain planets and stars reach us from outer space? From where? On which medium? What is that medium? Because when they check the medium, it is almost a vacuum. I'm saying almost. So, in a vacuum, what carries that? So, there has to be a medium. And that medium has to be strong enough to carry the waves of those lights and also the sound of certain explosions which have been recorded. There has to be a Kutastha. Kutastha, an Adhar, a platform, a substratum. Scientists are grappling with it in their own way, but suffice it to say for us, we are entering into a happy world of bhakti, where when we are told there is a Kutastha, we are happy to say yes, God, I'm sure it is there. We want to move away from the dry logic of the Jnanis and into the beautiful world of Bhaktas. So I am Kutastha, I am the substratum. Yes, Bhagwan, you are Achalam. I am Dhruvam, I am eternal. Dhruvam. So when you know his Swarup, then it's easier to put your mind on any symbol. The symbol doesn't matter. It could be an idol, or it could be a cross, or it could be a five-pointed star, or it could be a star and a sickle moon, the moon in a sickle form, or whatever. The symbol doesn't matter. You have to know the Swarup. Okay. So if it is Achintyam, the word Achintyam, I cannot contemplate on it. Then, what is it riding on? The idea of Bhagwan, or even the thought of Bhagwan, or even the bhakti, or any action of mine. It is riding on consciousness. That's what we need to understand. Okay. Kutastha, we have already talked about it, that everything in this world is changing. It has the six-pointed vikar. Vikar means changes. It's born, it exists, it grows, it decays, and it dies. This applies to everything in the world, these 5 or 6 ways of existence, including our bodies. But Kutastha, there is something that these 6 changes or vikar don't apply to. Essential nature doesn't change. So we have very often seen the example of sugar. Now, sugar may be offered to you on a platter in